The NBA is full of insane talent, jaw-dropping plays, and unexpected moments, but what if I told you some moves were so unfair, so unstoppable, that the league had to ban them? From dunks that broke the game to fouls you didn't even know existed, these rules changed basketball forever. Some were made to protect players, others to keep things competitive, but all of them have shaped the sport we love today. Let's break down the most shocking NBA rules that completely changed the game. Number 1, Wilt Chamberlain's free back in the 1960s. Wilt Chamberlain was so dominant that the NBA had to change its rules just to level the playing field. Standing at 7'1" with unmatched athleticism, Wilt had a move that left defenders helpless. He would take a running start from behind the free throw line and dunk the ball instead of shooting. It was nearly automatic. The league quickly stepped in, introducing a rule that banned players from crossing the free throw line until the ball hit the rim. It was a direct response to Wilt's dominance. But even with this restriction, he continued to shatter records. This was just one of several rules created because of him, proving how unstoppable he truly was. Number 2, the Stepien rule. Imagine being so bad at running a team that the NBA has to step in to stop you from ruining it completely. That's exactly what happened with Ted Stepien, the former owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers in the early 1980s. He recklessly traded away first-round draft picks year after year, leaving the Cavs with no young talent and no future. The situation got so bad that the league had to create the Stepien rule, preventing teams from trading first-round picks in consecutive years. This ensured no franchise could completely sabotage its future in pursuit of quick success. Ironically, this rule now plays a huge role in modern NBA trades, all thanks to Stepien's disastrous decisions. Number 3, the Zaza rule. In 2017, during the Western Conference Finals, Zaza Pachulia made a move that changed the NBA forever. He slid under Kawhi Leonard as he landed from a jump shot, causing a devastating ankle injury. The play was dirty, but at the time, not technically illegal. After that, the NBA introduced the Zaza rule, making it a foul if a defender invades a shooter's landing space. The goal? Protect players and prevent cheap plays that could take out a team's best player. Now, referees don't hesitate to call it, making the game safer for everyone. Number 4, the rip-through move. Kevin Durant and other elite scorers found a clever way to trick referees into giving them free throws. By swinging the ball into a defender's outstretched arms while pretending to take a shot, they could bait officials into calling a shooting foul. It was a cheap but effective way to rack up easy points. The NBA eventually caught on and put a stop to it. Now, instead of rewarding players with free throws, the rip-through move is considered a non-shooting foul, meaning teams only get possession instead. This rule forced players to earn their points the hard way instead of exploiting defenders who weren't even making a play on the ball. Number 5, the Reggie Miller rule. Reggie Miller was one of the greatest shooters of all time, but he was also a master at manipulating the rules. One of his signature tricks, kicking his leg out during a jump shot to create contact with a defender, tricking refs into calling a foul. It worked for years, sending him to the free throw line for what looked like minimal contact. Eventually, the NBA had enough. The league introduced a rule penalizing offensive players who intentionally kick out their legs to force fouls. Now, instead of getting free throws, these moves are called offensive fouls. The change stopped players from abusing the system and made it harder to fake contact for easy points. Number 6, the Charles Barkley rule. Charles Barkley was an absolute force in the post. His strength and footwork allowed him to back down defenders for what felt like an eternity, slowly inching closer to the basket until he found the perfect moment to score. But there was a problem. This tactic slowed the game down and made defending nearly impossible. To speed things up and keep the game flowing, the NBA introduced the 5-second back to the basket rule. Now, players can't back down a defender for more than 5 seconds without making a move. This forced quicker decisions in the post and stopped big men from holding the ball forever, making the game faster and more dynamic. Number 7, the hand check ban. Back in the 90s, defense wasn't just tough, it was brutal. Defenders could put their hands on ball handlers, pushing, shoving, and guiding them wherever they wanted. This was called hand checking, and it made driving to the basket nearly impossible, especially for smaller guards. The NBA realized that this slowed the game down and made scoring a nightmare. So they banned hand checking, giving offensive players more freedom to move. The result? A faster, higher scoring game that allowed players like Stephen Curry and James Harden to thrive. Without this rule change, today's fast-paced, highlight-heavy NBA wouldn't exist. Number 8, the hack-a-Shaq strategy. Shaquille O'Neal was an unstoppable force in the paint. He could overpower anyone, but there was one weakness: teams exploited his free throw shooting. Opponents started intentionally fouling him just to send him to the line, knowing he'd likely miss. This became known as hack-a-Shaq, and it made games painful to watch, turning them into endless free throw contests. To fix this, the NBA changed the rules. Now, if a team intentionally fouls a bad free throw shooter away from the ball in the final 2 minutes of a quarter, the opposing team gets free throws and possession. This forced teams to actually play defense instead of relying on cheap fouls to stop dominant big men. Number 9, the clear path foul. Fast breaks are some of the most exciting plays in basketball. Watching a player sprint down the court for an easy dunk gets fans on their feet. But before the clear path rule, defenders had an easy way to stop these moments. Just grab the offensive player from behind and take the foul. No dunk, no highlight, just a whistle. The NBA stepped in to prevent this. Now, if a player has a clear path to the basket and gets fouled from behind, they get 2 free throws and possession of the ball. This rule keeps the game flowing, rewards hustle, and makes sure defenders can't just take the easy way out to stop a fast break. Number 10, the landing space foul jump shooters are some of the most vulnerable players on the court. If a defender steps under them while they're landing, they risk serious injuries. The NBA cracked down hard on this, making it an automatic foul if a defender invades a shooter's landing space. This rule, similar to the Zaza rule, was created to prevent dangerous plays that could change the course of a season by injuring a key player. Rules shape the game, and as the NBA evolves, so do its regulations. Some of these rules were made to protect players, others to stop teams from bending the system, but all of them had a huge impact on basketball as we know it. The next time you watch a game, think about how different it would be without these changes. Would Wilt still be dunking from the free throw line? Would Shaq be getting fouled every